Okay, we're back looking at 8.6 in the manual. We have the island circuit still hooked up here, and we're looking at a different aspect of it. And so uh, it's kind of confusing to look at, I suppose, in pictures. So just let me explain the components. Back here is our voltage source. We're reading 3 volts out of that, and it comes in through this hot into a capacitor. And the capacitor is then hooked up to lamp number 1. So those two are in series with each other. There's a gap between this lamp and then this lamp over here. No conductor between the two of those. There's a gap. And then from here, it's connected to a capacitor, which goes to the negative side of a voltage source. So our island occurs between the two capacitors, and the lamps are involved in the middle of that with no conductor between the two lamps. All right, so now to read the different voltages, which will eventually help us with hopefully help us with the color coding that we have to do. Across this capacitor right now, I'm reading 0 volts on this voltmeter, and across the bulb down here from one side of the bulb to the other, I'm also reading 0 volts. However, across the gap from bulb 1 to bulb 2, since there's no conductor between the two, we're measuring a potential difference of 2.9 volts, and our voltage source is close to 3 volts, so we're right on the money there. What we're trying to do then is we're going to hook up this conductor, and so I have the conductor right here, and when I connect it, we're going to watch the voltmeter's reaction here. 3, 2, 1, charging. Now, interesting that when we connected these two, our potential between the two bulbs has now gone to 0, and it's staying at 0 even though I've disconnected it again. And the potential across this lamp right here is also 0. Now it started at 0, and then it went up, and now it's back to 0. And this capacitor was at 0, and now it's up at 1.5. So the capacitors both went up in value, whereas the lamps had a high value immediately after connection, then dropped quickly down to 0, and they stayed at 0. One other interesting fact is that I have 3 decimal places on this one, and I have 2 on this one set up. So I don't know what was happening in that thousandth range, but that one finished before this one, and I don't know if that's significant or not. We'll have to, but they both dropped to 0 pretty quickly. So okay, so now off to color coding. We'll see what happens.